I have finished Andor Season 1, and I'm at a bit of an interesting spot where I haven't yet seen Rogue One just yet. I know it's one of the better movies in the new Star Wars releases. However, that didn't really say much to me at the time, simply because I just finished Episode 8, and it was terrible. It was actually, frankly, awful. It was absolutely terrible. So there's two moments that I always reference when people ask me if it raises any eyebrows, for whatever reason. There's still people out there who seem to have contrary opinions to that. I don't fully understand it, but, to each their own. There's two scenes in Episode 8, and the first is where Luke Skywalker hears the news of his best friend, Han Solo, and hears that he is dead. And there's this mournful scene. It's really quick. It's just about like 20 seconds or less. And it's a really powerful scene. It kind of lets Mark Hamill show off some of his acting chops. And it kind of gives you an idea of, a reference to their friendship, a mourn, a loss, an understanding for the mourning, and a kinship with the audience, because we were there mourning his death because we loved Han Solo. And then that's scene one. The other scene is Luke Skywalker again, our hero, stuck on this rock planet that he's marooned himself on. He goes up to this weird quadboobied space cow and milks some green milk out of this, and then takes a drink out of it, and it spills down his beard. And the point I used to kind of convey the reason why I don't like Episode 8 is of those two scenes I described, one of them is in the movie, and the other is a deleted scene. And I'll let you kind of... For anyone who's seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about and where it is. So that's kind of where I left off. So that's the reason why I never got around to seeing Rogue One, and I just never really seemed to care for it, because I just didn't think the movies were going to be worthwhile at that point. I watched Mandalorian, I enjoyed it, and that's kind of what led me to some of the hesitation to watch Andor, simply because I thought it was going to be pretty good. I thought it was going to be all right, and I was just completely blown away by it from here. So here I am now. I've finished Season 1. I'm looking forward to Season 2. I haven't yet seen Rogue One, and I'm kind of theory crafting and going through different ideas of what I hope and what I expect and what I want to see in Season 2. So the way I'm kind of thinking about this is there's three aspects of it. There's story payoff from Season 1, kind of continuing in the same storylines or the effects of Season 1, character development, and endpoint. Character development, of course, where do we want to see the characters? Endpoint being, where are we trying to go with Season 2? From here. So story payoff, and kind of what I mean is one of the things that Andor does so well is this idea of an interconnected world. In the heist arc, episodes, I think it's 4 to 6, and Cassian and the crew, they steal 80 billion, an absurd amount of credits, and now they have this money. Season 1 never really answers exactly what they're going to do with that money. Luthen has his lines, in that deep, scraggly voice where he's like, a rebellion needs funds, And so we know they're going to use it for something, but we don't exactly know what they're going to be using it for. And so what I'm hoping to see is we'll get to find out what these funds happen. This is something that the Andor as a show has done so well, as we have Dedra Mira's whole character, and what she does has this chain reaction impact throughout the Empire. So where Cassian is running away on that tourist planet, he gets arrested, and what's supposed to be 6 months turns into 6 years, and that's basically what starts the entire prison arc from there. Because if he wasn't there for 6 years, he wouldn't try it. He would do his 6 months, he would get out and, bounce off to the next one. But because it's this injustice that's kind of caused this whole thing to happen, this is what we have. This is a cause and effect. We feel the influence and power of the Empire and their cruelty and the injustice of it all. But this is just such a small, simple throwaway one. It also gives the audience something to figure out and pick the pieces together. Because the audiences love puzzles. We love putting all the pieces together. So you want to give your audience an opportunity to do that, because it really, really works out. So the rebellion has all this money. What are they going to do for it? I want to pay off for that. I want to see what the rebellion can do with all of this money. This is something I really am looking forward to, and it could go a number of different directions. They could go with, hey, we're going to bribe these mercenaries to go attack this. We're going to bribe these people. We're going to take this money. We're going to We're going to fund a rebellion in another sector. We're going to give it to these other people. We're going to build a fleet. We're going to, all these different things. I feel like the building a fleet thing would be probably the most likely, but that would be awesome. Can you imagine? I don't know how much money it costs to build a fleet, but, the quarterly budget for an entire sector that could at least build a few capital ships, hopefully. And so I want to see where that goes, because what we've done is we've spent so much time and effort and energy from the characters. We've seen all of this come into play. We want to see the payoff. We want to see what happens, and we want to show that this matters. This heist in moment is not just a cool scene. It matters down the road, and this is what we want to see from here. The next thing I'm hoping to see more is the prison arc. You know, there's a great mystery for what the prisoners are building. Again, I have read a little bit, and I have an idea if what this said was true comes into play. What I read was that those weird hexagon claw things are actually going to be used in the Death Star, which would be an awesome addition to it, because again, it's showing this interconnected aspect of the world where everything is kind of impacted by others. I remember watching, there was a section of The Walking Dead, I think it was season 3 or 4, where they had the governor, and there was just all these episodes where you could have pulled them out and nothing would not have made any difference from there. It wouldn't have enriched the audience. There was no secret information. There was nothing more that they knew. It was just gone. You could cut it. And because it's filler. You know, this is the problem generally with 20 plus episode seasons, and then they go on and on and on and on as they run out of stuff. So they start making stuff to happen, but they don't want to make it, you know, close the door on anything. So they make sure that nothing actually really impacts the story from there. And it's meh. You're left feeling with this kind of general meh feeling, because it doesn't matter. It could just be gone, and wouldn't change anything from there. And that's what you want to avoid. That's what Andor does so good from here. The other thing for the prison arc that I love is they've developed some awesome characters, and they can bring these characters back at any point. You know, Kino Loy, they can bring him back for season 2. Bam. They could pull him in there. We could get his backstory. Why did he do it? Is it a Jean Valjean type thing where that's the reason why he's so determined in the prison arc? He's just trying to keep his head down, keep his men in line. He's just going to go home. He's got a daughter. He's got a wife. He's got a family. He's got to go back and feed. He's got to find them. But now, because he's escaped from prison, because he realizes that there is no escape, there is no release from prison. So if you don't escape, you are going to die, or work until you die. From there, he's going to do it. He's going to join the rebellion. He's going to show up later, and you can have this moment. You can have this really cool moment where he gets pulled back into it from here. The other aspect that I'm hoping to see as far as payoff is Mon Mothma. I don't really care for her name, but you know what? It was set 30, 50 years ago, so there it is. For her, we know she's going to be the leader of the rebellion in the original trilogy, but we don't really know what she's been working on. Like, I know she's been working out funding, but again, this kind of goes to the question of what are we using these 80 billion, 60 billion double dollars? What are we using all these credits for the rebellion? What are they up to? And this is something that we really want to see. This is something I want to see, and that's something that the story needs to have this payoff. We need to know what's been going on, because we need to know our characters' actions matter to reinforce this whole idea, where we want to see what they're going to do in season 2. Because if season 1 doesn't matter, season 2 doesn't matter. But if season 1 does matter, then season 2 is even more important, because we're building and building and building and building on this. And this is just an aspect where the whole interconnectedness of this world really comes into play from here. And this goes into the second point that I was talking about with character development. And with character development, what we're looking for is, we've taken Cassian from this really, really skeptical, he wants to be a tourist, he wants to live his life, he wants the peace, all that. He's doing his own thing independent of the rebellion. He wants nothing to do with it. But then we can completely change that. We brought him into the rebellion. He's now fully enmeshed in the entire rebellion. And this is awesome. This is what we want to see, because this is what we're after. We're building up towards Rogue One. We're building up towards the original trilogy. And we're not really thinking about the new trilogy from there. And so now we've got Cassian. What development as a character, what you could see him do is turn more. Now he's a soldier in the rebellion. But next thing we want to do is we want to make him a leader. Maybe we want to make him a leader from there. Now, before he was just running away. Now he's there. And then at some point, I unfortunately have a bad feeling that Luthen will probably die. The speech he gives to the rebel spy, I feel like it kind of confirms it, or he's going to set it up. I just hope they do it right. So far, the writers have done amazing with this, so I just can't wait to see more from there. And so I hope this continues at this point. So that's what we've got going. This is what the characters are building up for. We want this to kind of lead at this point. Deidre Mira is the other character that I'm probably looking at with the next most potential alongside Cassian. Probably even more so because she's such a great villain. She's so evil. She's so good. The other thing is she's so capable. You know, I cannot help but compare Deidre Mira to the villain Kylo Ren or General whatever his face was. General Ginger from episode 8, where they're just completely impotent. We don't feel that they can do anything. They're just sitting here and they're just there. They're kind of just like a work of art or an ominous presence. You know, they don't do anything. They don't feel real. This is something that Andor's the show has done such a good job with, where you have Deidre Mira and all the stuff she does. She's the spy hunting. She's the reason why we're hunting off after Axis. We've watched we've watched her piece together what's going on, what's really going on, and how intelligent she is, and how evil she is with the whole torture scene. You know, she's like, we comb the entire galaxy for the device that can cause the most pain and torture and obliterate human psyches, and we found it. And now we're going to blast you with it. This is what evil empires do. And so this is why she's such a good figurehead. And so what I'm hoping happens is she is built into like kind of like a governor for this sector. She keeps going up and up and up and up. And so then the season 2 showdown, the final boss, you know, because you need a villain at the head, because now it's the Empire, which is very vague and it's very evil and vague, but you need a figurehead for your evil empire. She will be the perfect candidate for that. And so what you want is you want to build her up to this, and then Cassian can go up against her, and we have this clash where they kind of been circling each other in orbit for their stories of kind of been touching, but not really, to the point where you have the whole riot in Ferrix where she nearly gets in trouble, or she nearly dies from this whole thing. And so you want to have this great showdown, and this is what I want to see. You know, maybe she captures Cassian's sister. You know, at the beginning he was looking for his sister, and we've kind of completely forgotten about this at this point. But now she's captured his sister, and holding her hostage. You know, you have all these options, these different endpoints where we want to see. This is where I want them to see them take these characters, because I think it would be great. I think there's a huge potential payoff. You could even combo it with, you know, Cassian's on the run and Deidre Mira's after him, and suddenly, you know, a rebel Starfleet, you know, jumps out of hyperspeed and appears, and then they're able to shoot them down, and there's this big space battle. How cool would that be for season 2? Yeah, it may not go that way. It may be more like stealthy political intrigue or something like that. You know, there's a bunch of different options that they could really do at this point, and I think they have a lot of flexibility, and they have a lot of great characters they can build off of. For the endpoint, which is kind of just a way of saying, where do you want the plot to go? We know that season 1, or Andor as a series, is leading up to Rogue One, so we need to at some point introduce the Death Star. We need to introduce the Death Star. We need to build up the rebellion. We need to build up the Empire to the point where they have this more of a classic showdown that we're looking forward to in the original. You know, we need to introduce the Bothan spies. You know, I think I still remember that line in the original one. You know, many Bothan spies died to give us this data from here. So let's see this come into play. And of course, we saw that in Rogue One. Well, I haven't yet, but I will at some point. And then what we're building towards is we got to introduce the Death Star. We got to introduce this. We got to have all of these different pieces. This is what we're working towards. Now, there's a number of ways that they could get there, and they could really take it at this point, because the show has been divided up into these like 3 episode arcs. We kind of have the intro arc where Luthen and all the characters come up, and the whole Ferrix. Basically, you could call it the Ferrix intro arc. The second arc is the heist episodes like 4 and 6, and then 7, 8, 9, kind of into 10. You kind of have the prison arc. And then 10, 11, 12, you have the riot on Ferrix, and you know, you have all this coming into play from here. So we have some different options. If they keep organizing this, they have a number of different story skeletons they could use in telling season 2. One of them could be a Saving Private Ryan. They could have combat. You know, they could take Hoth, like imagine the battle on Hoth, but with the writers of Andor, you know, with the director. You know, we could really dig deep into that with hours and hours. You know, Hoth battle lasts, like 20 minutes or something like that? You could have 3 episodes devoted to trench warfare in a Star Wars world. That would be awesome. That would be really cool that they could do from there. You could also, on the flip side, you could take it back, House of Cards. We could introduce more political characters with Mon Mothma to deal, you know, the senator lady, for her to deal with from here, so we can have more. Because again, she's been working on something, but we don't really know what it's on about. We don't really know what's going on. And this is what we want to see. You want to see that payoff. We've been following her for a whole season. We don't really get it. She has this weird, or not weird scene. She has a scene where she's seemingly sacrificing her own child. What do we get out of that? What is the payoff from here? This is what we want to see. We want to see this build up from here. We can have space fighting. I really look forward to having, Cassian. He's an amazing pilot. We already know this. We could do more. I would love to see another arc. I would love to see an arc where Cassian goes up and breaks into some sort of Imperial fleet or starship or something else like this. How he got the fighter. What is it called? The crap. Whatever he stole in the first season that he was trying to sell to Axis. Hang on. He steals some sort of Starpath unit. I think that's what it is. I think it's called an Imperial Starpath unit. So he steals that. And he talks about it. He's like, they're so arrogant. I just walked in and took it. They just couldn't believe that anyone would ever stay against them. The arrogance from here. And this is something that I really want them to show, and they could see is you can have the rebellion get these victories, and then the Empire goes, okay, we've got a real enemy that we need to fight. They kind of bulk up, they build up, they appoint Mira, governor of the sector, or this section of the galaxy or something like that. She starts ramping up with, stormtroopers and all these, we're going out, show of force. We're going to obliterate these people. And this is where you get this build up. This is where you kind of get this setup of these two factions fighting against each other. And this is what we're here for. This is what we're here for. We want to see the rebellion kick some butt. We want to see them go and fight. We want to see the intrigue. We want to see all these characters. We want to see all this build up. Get to some sort of payoff. And this is where we're at. So I think they've done an amazing job so far. I'm really looking forward to season 2. And then once I finish season 2, I'll probably finish off Rogue One, give it a try from there. Because so far I'm just loving the characters, and they've just done such a phenomenal job. So, what can I say? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Please, if you watch this far, do give it a like. It very much helps smaller channels from there. Post in the comments, would you like to see more? What's your hopes that you would like to see in season 2? And we'll go from there. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next one.